2 years ago, I purchased my first home and seemingly my last. I bought it from a widowed man who said he just couldn't handle the upkeep anymore. Understandably so. He was very old at the time we signed the papers. He mentioned that he left some furniture in the home and asked that I didn't sell it. I could use it if I like, or store it in the large shed on the property. Just that I didn't sell it. I didn't think much of it, and I planned to sell it until I saw it. It was a large, beautiful antique mahogany dresser. I kept it because it bore a striking resemblance to the one that had been in my grandmother's home before she passed. I opted to use the dresser instead of store it. Nothing was out of the ordinary for about a month. I went to pull out some socks while getting ready for work one day, and found a $50 bill in the drawer. Odd, I thought, but I was too excited about finding misplaced money that I didn't think much of it. However, the next morning, I opened it to find another $50 bill. I felt a little unsettled at that obvious thought that I hadn't put that there. So, who did? I didn't call the police because what would I say? Someone broke into my house and left me $50? That was ridiculous. Instead, I went to the local shopping mart and purchased little chain locks to install on my doors. The following morning, I found nothing unusual in my home. I checked every drawer, cabinet, and closet. There was nothing amiss or extra. A week later, I misplaced the charger for my cell phone. I searched everywhere twice. I looked in all the obvious spots, under the bed, on the counters. Finally, I started looking in the drawers, even though that made no sense, because I couldn't recall putting anything in there. Still, I found a charger when I opened the top dresser drawer. I say a charger because it wasn't mine, or the one I even owned. My charger was blue. This charger was white like a brand new one would be. I felt so panicked. This wasn't right at all. It meant someone was in my house again. Who the hell was coming in to leave things in my dresser? I changed my locks and bought some alarms for my windows. I still didn't want to call the police because how do you tell them someone is breaking in and leaving things that are helpful? 2 days after I changed my locks and added window alarms, I found more money in my dresser drawer. This was even more unsettling because it was exactly what I needed for my electric bill that was higher than expected. I felt naked. Was someone watching me? I went straight away to ordering a Wise camera for each room in the house. I left to stay with a friend until my cameras arrived. I set them up and went to bed as usual. This way, if someone was breaking in to leave things, I'd have it on camera and wouldn't sound like a fool to the police. I barely slept, and as soon as the sun came up, I flew out of bed to check the dresser. Nothing. I was relieved and also extremely apprehensive. What if I was being watched or monitored? He, she, they would know I installed cameras. A month passed and nothing strange had happened. I kept my locks engaged and cameras running at all times though. It wasn't until December that it happened again. My sister was expecting twins and was stressed about things like clothing and money, as they had only expected one child. I wanted more than anything to help her out, but I was having issues paying my own bills at the time. I woke up on the 4th of December and going to retrieve socks. I found no socks in my drawer. Instead, I found a large stack of baby clothes for both a boy and a girl. Just what my sister was having. Not only that, there was $2,000 laying neatly on top. I rushed to check the app for my cameras. I went over the footage 4 times. Before I knew it, it was 9 p.m. I'd not even called into work. I'd watched several hours of boring footage of absolutely nothing happening in my home. I felt as though I'd lost my mind. Eventually, I contacted the man that sold me the home. It took me a while to find him because he'd been admitted to a nursing home, and truthfully, I couldn't remember his last name. He was both unhelpful and helpful at the same time. It's been a while since I visited, so I'll just summarize what he shared with me. When he was a teenager, he worked odd jobs for neighbors and people in the town to earn some money for his family for Christmas. As his father had died a year prior and his mother was struggling, he helped an old woman that wouldn't pay him with money even after hearing his story. She offered instead the dresser, telling him that it was lucky. She told him that his mother's luck would change with it. He didn't buy into it, but took what he could get. He told me that the old woman had warned him that the dresser should only be for those with as pure a heart as possible. The dresser had brought his mother luck, and their years changed. It seems that he knew that he would be put into a nursing home and didn't bother leaving the dresser to his remaining family. He said that though he didn't know me that well, he felt the dresser would be in better hands with me than his niece and nephews because they'd been raised wrong. I wasn't sure what to make of it, or even if I believed him, but I promised him I wouldn't sell it and left, thanking him for sharing his story with me. A few months passed, and I stopped looking for an intruder and accepted the gifts this dresser gave me. It was always things I needed, or things that just made my life easier. I think maybe I grew too comfortable with how fortunate that dresser made me. I think maybe I even became greedy, checking every morning and becoming disappointed when all I was greeted with were socks. The dresser was changing me. I began to spend recklessly and become angry when it hadn't left me anything. I was growing ungrateful and frustrated, all because I wanted more. I've lived with this dresser for 2 years now. It has provided for me in ways that are almost unimaginable. At first, I was thankful and felt incredibly indebted to this piece of furniture. I even started talking to it. As time went on though, I just wanted more. It only gave what I needed. It wasn't giving in to my appetite for more. I began to crave more and more, and it began to cease imparting gifts. Frustrated, I covered it with a sheet. I was giving it a time out, so to speak. I suppose I'd lost my mind. I hit hard times and found myself crying and begging my furniture to help me. I begged for forgiveness. I received that forgiveness, and just for a short time, I found that we were on good terms. Unfortunately, that greed had burrowed deep into me, and soon I was demanding more than my dresser was willing to give. Angry, I hit it with a hammer over and over until the beautiful wood was dented and splintered. I went to bed, writhing in guilt, sure that I'd never get a gift again. I was wrong. I woke up to an open dresser drawer, and when I peeked inside, foolishly thinking I'd shown the furniture what for, I found instead 14 dead rats. Blood soaked the drawer, and I recoiled at the sight. I was aghast, and after cleaning it out, I promptly moved the dresser to the shed. It took me a long time to sleep. My greed suddenly made me feel ashamed. I felt bad for my dresser and how I'd wronged it. I felt silly for feeling this way for some furniture, but obviously it had emotion as well as luck, and I'd hurt it. I fell asleep thinking that tomorrow I'd pull it out of the shed, get it fixed, and apologize. I would try to right my wrongs. As it happens, I cannot fix the damage I've done. Yesterday, I woke up to the dresser back in my room. Petrified, I walked to the dresser and opened it. Inside was something that churned my stomach so badly that I proceeded to vomit. Inside the drawer was a human hand. It had 4 very distinct rings on its fingers, and seeing this, my eyes began to well up. I began to shake uncontrollably as I looked down at the severed hand of my mother.
Thanks for watching, Wolfpack. If you want to submit your story, my email and subreddit will be in the description below. And also, if you're not subscribed, please do if you want. And don't forget to like and comment as well. Have beautiful nightmares. And I will see you next time.